Well, the first thing that I would say about this program that I like to start always when I talk about this program is that we should note that this is a proposal. Still, nothing there is set in stone. And my opinion about this program is that it was not clearly thought out. They didn't think about it as a whole. One of the biggest issue with this program is the way it presents people with immigrant background or the way it sees them. It sees people with immigrant backgrounds as part of a market, like products that need to be not as human beings. That's the way I interpret the way this program. So we want this kind of people and we don't want this kind of people. I don't know how that can work. And then they haven't thought about what are the effects of this program. Yes, if this works, what is the long-term effect of the program on social issues and other issues, not just the money and the economy? What is the long-term cost that Finland is going to pay if these proposals get implemented? I would like to know which countries they are talking about, where these policies are actually working, and the societies, especially social cohesion and the increasing uh, segregation in society. How are these policies helping in other Nordic countries? I want to know which countries they're talking about. Finland is a party to international agreements and organizations as well, which will come into play in these things. And yes, if there's the majority party wants to push something, they can push it. But I think this time that we are having this discussion is quite timely because this is the time for the society to tell the government that this is not what we want. It's time to sort of try to turn the mind of the majority party to know that this is not what the society wants. But it's a long process. This is not even we are not even they are not even yet scratching the surface to implement those proposals that are in that 200-page document. The worst or best case scenario for them is that they would set a foundation that will be inherited by another government that has to start struggling to deal with it. I think that the law affects you if you're putting your application when the law it has become uh, operational. And for now, there is no law, there is just a proposal. So it can't affect, there's nothing to affect anybody yet. This should make things a little easier because people can clearly see how elections can affect society, broader society in different ways. One thing also that I am sort of happy about these results, I know it sounds controversial, is that the party that has never been in government and is always putting out propaganda and a lot of things talking everywhere has the opportunity to show how they can make Finland better through this propaganda. I think it's excellent that there is an opportunity to actually show that this all this propaganda can actually build a country. It cuts the work easier for some of us who talk about integration and all of that, because you can clearly see what happens when an anti-immigrant or anti-multicultural society party is in government. What are the effects on the society? That part makes our work easier. We don't need a lot of evidence anymore to tell people that, okay, this is the importance of being, of civic activism, of being active as a member of the Finnish society. We are now all on the streets protesting and all of that. It's not a vote. We had the time to vote. People who share strong sentiments that they don't want immigrants in Finland, they voted. And this is the outcome. The decisions will be made and they will affect you, whether you like it or not. For instance, the multicultural councils that are supposed to be targeted at immigrants, there's one in Turku as well. And you can always look at who are the members of this they are almost the whole of it should be people of immigrant background. You can reach out to those people. That's one way to get active. But I don't want to focus a lot on what the immigrants should do. We have to notice that the Finnish political system was not structurally built with immigrants in mind. And we are not yet there when it comes to communicating to immigrants or even thinking about immigrants in the political processes and all of that. 10% of Turku is people of immigrant background, but all the council sessions are in Finnish. There's not even a provision for selko. So even if these people want to know what is happening in the council, it takes a lot of effort for them to know what is happening in the council. That is one thing that needs to be addressed. Political parties can do it with low threshold services, like, okay, let's give a bit more information in other languages. The language in which you think is very important. Even the immigrants who speak Finnish, a lot of us are thinking first in our first language. So it's not the same thing when you are given information in Finnish, even though you are speaking Finnish. That's just language. But then there's the structural issues, even in the way uh, political issues are communicated. Are we thinking about the different groups of society, or are we thinking that, okay, the way information is given in Finland, everyone is supposed to know this, not thinking that there are people who are from certain backgrounds who they don't have the basic knowledge, so you have to start from the basics. um I recently noticed that the Green Party has an association under it called Green Sisu, which was supposed to be for everything there was supposed to be in English or other languages. And it was quite active, but then got dormant. It's one thing that I want to push, that it should be, but and I hope that other parties can think about having within their parties uh, special associations or initiatives that are targeted at immigrants. It doesn't mean that they should go in and translate everything in the party and start doing everything in other languages, but just the thought that, okay, a proportion of our voters are immigrants. There are some immigrants who vote faithfully, who follow the political processes faithfully. But does the system think about these people when they are doing politics, when they are planning all these processes? Do they think about these people? The immigrant can do all these things that you are saying that they should do. You can, as a citizen or as a resident of a city, put initiatives. There are platforms for that. Make proposals to the city. But are the are the cities and the decision makers thinking about the different groups of society that are represented in their communities? Finland is no longer homogeneous, but the structures are still very homogeneous. And another thing that immigrants need are mentors. A lot of the people who have succeeded in Finnish politics started from the student unions and school councils. And they had people that they looked up to. But for most immigrants, there's no one to look up to. So, one thing that the system can think about is, how do we mentor immigrants in the political process? How do we support them? Because we don't have, as immigrant politicians, we don't have those networks. We don't have friends from daycare up till now. We don't have those networks, and it's very important in politics. So how does the system bridge that gap for aspirants from the immigrant background communities? It's not even a question whether this is motivated by racism or by racially motivated discrimination. How do you go in a government program and you start naming the countries where you want to take people from? Does labor force have a color? Does it have a nationality? If Finland wants labor force, it should be labor force, period. It's not supposed to be, we want from here and from here and here. And then I don't know whether they've mentioned the reason why they want from those particular countries. But I think the answer is in the win. We all know why they want people from those countries, and we know the countries which they don't want people from. So there is no denying that this is racism or it's racially motivated. And we have seen it how it has played in the media, how uh, the politicians' real colors are coming out. The promises that they made during the elections is not what they're delivering on. Even the head of the government saying that uh, this government is has zero tolerance to racism. I don't even know what that means. And then you have this government program that is clearly going the opposite direction. And then we are singing that we need labor force. Johanna was saying 100,000, and I'm asking from where? It's not a secret that Finland's population is aging, birth rate is low, and we cannot meet that demand by trying to have uh, quote unquote traditional Finnish people only in the labor force. There's no way we are going to meet that target. So, from where are we going to get these 100,000 people on the one hand? And then on the other hand, we are trying to, as much as possible, to keep the doors of Finland closed from inside and also from the borders. From inside, because we don't want to let immigrants into anywhere, not into the labor market, not anywhere. Uh, and even where the immigrants are struggling to contribute to the society, we are making sure that we are making it really difficult for them to get anywhere. The sectors where the immigrants are working the most are the sectors where we have decided that we will not make anything good there. The, they are the lowest paid, they have the worst working conditions, and all of that. So, how can we say we want to be the most interesting country for investors? My last words would be that get knowledge. Immigrants need to get knowledge. Immigrants need to get interested in getting knowledge. I see how reactions to this government policy are divided. Some are just emotions, and then people go out and say whatever without even understanding uh, what is in the government program or anything. We need to read, we need to be able to find information, even when we are not given. For us to be able to speak back to the government, we need to be able to know what is going on. So get interested in politics. There are easy ways to start. You don't even need to start first going to run for elections. Just first get interested. Read. Read about what is going on. What happened today in Parliament? What happened these days? There are several online platforms where you can get the information about what is happening in politics in several languages. Get information. The second thing is stay active, speak out like we are all speaking out now, and then act. We are all on the streets, we are all on social media and different places complaining about the government program. I hope that we keep up this attitude of speaking back to the government. But then when the time comes for us to use our vote voice, we should also use it because that will be uh, the most effective. And most of those events or whatever that are organized around elections are open. They're always looking for people to come and take part.